Let's begin with President Aznar. President Aznar, the G20 recently convened in London and focused very much on global regulatory matters and on global stimulus issues. But as the G20 moves forward, many people ascribe to it the responsibility to be a steering committee for the world and take on a much larger agenda. They addressed the need for greater development assistance, but clearly it was not the primary issue. But moving forward, how will the G20 and the global leadership deal with issues like the World Trade Organization and the need to revamp the Doha trade round? And now that the IMF is back in a much larger way than in recent years, can it provide the necessary lifelines to poor countries and emerging markets in a way different from the past where it's been seen as an alienating power?
Well, the two meetings of G20, the first here in the United States at Washington and the second in London, is a very interesting meeting for the situations, crisis in the world. But for both, there are a balance of lights and shades. And in my view, maybe more shades than light. If you're thinking in the meeting celebrated at the sea, at Washington, the unique, very important conclusion was a commitment among the leaders was to achieve an agreement before the end of the last year about the Doha Down, the liberalization of free trade in the world. Obviously, we arrive at the end of December, and obviously there does not exist agreement. And this is a very important question, because in this group of G20, 17 out of 20 established protectionist measures and decisions in their countries. The second meeting in London, leaders began again to make a very strong speech against protectionism, but without consequences. The countries that established protectionist measures continue, and the Doha Down not advance. The problem is, if you study the crisis in the 30s of the last century, to establish protectionist measures was decisive to convert a financial crisis in a Great Depression. And the danger and the threat of protectionism is enormous, and the consequence for the world will be terrible, in my view. This is not a single economic question. This is a political decision that needed political courage, political determination, that need leaders with capacity to take this decision. This is, in my view, the one of the worst part of this meeting. The second is that maybe excessively they focus attention in some superficial question not exactly related directly with the crisis. For example, demonizes hedge fund. It's possible that the devil at the hedge funds, there are some connections, but one thing is the devil and the connection, the devil and some hedge funds. Another question is demonizing hedge funds. Talking about tax havens, but what is the relation with tax havens with this crisis? It's not clear. Well, the excesses of some executives, it's possible, but it's not exactly the cause of the crisis. It's a consequence. It's not the cause of the crisis. And the third question is some decisions to recapitalizing, for example, International Monetary Fund is a good decision to avoid more damage for the poor countries. The developing countries is a good decision. But I believe it's the limit results. If you compare this, excuse me, if you compare this, for example, with the result of the Bretton Woods meetings in 1944, it's very, very, very difficult, no? Because leaders in 1944 accept the responsibility, accept duties, accept mistakes and propose solutions. In this moment, leaders non accept responsibility, non accept mistakes, and relatively only propose some solution.